Hey Mark, it's Trace. Thanks a lot for letting me look at your stuff this way, like that. Hopefully this works for you and you can kind of see what, it might be kind of cool just to be able to see the way I look at it and the way I take everything in. So what I basically do is I pull in all of your files from the Garmin site, and then I'll bring them in here, and that's this kind of this thermostat over here on the upper left-hand corner. That's what the first thing I look at. So, for example, right now I can see that your training stress balance is about 9. So, in that sense, it's good because your recovery is coming up, and that's exactly what we want. We want your knee to kind of, sort of come up for air. You were saying you're a little sore and tired too. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here too. But anyhow, so then the other thing I'll do is kind of take a look at the athlete dashboard. So this kind of gives me an idea of the kind of week and the month that you've had, and I'll dive into a little bit of this more here in a second. But right now, it's kind of funny, interesting. The software defines you automatically as a time trialist because that's your best kind of power, and it'll tell me real quick what your peaks are, and that's kind of handy too. But anyhow. First thing I do is I'll jump here into the calendar, and what I like to do is I create this thing called Mark's Week because if I go by last week or whatever, it doesn't, because it's not a Monday to Friday. Let me see here. Sorry about those messages there. Let me pause this real quick. Okay, so you can see here that your your week is from the 12th to the 20th. And then first thing I'll do is just kind of see sort of the rides that you've put in, and I can also tell a lot of that by looking at the stuff on the Garmin site too. So the Garmin will also, one good thing about that. Let me pause this and get over there. The Garmin site also shows me pretty quickly how the kind of riding and sort of where you were at too. So that's important for me, and I can see. A lot of, like I can tell if the distance is 0, then I know you were riding indoors, and it also tells me kind of where you were here. So that's pretty handy too. So anyway, let's get through your stats. So you can see here that your what is that called? Your MFTP, which is your software assigned FTP, holding great, 316 for the week. And I was just going to see here, I was thinking about this on my ride. If I look at, let's see, there should be a range like this week a year ago or something like that. If I did this custom range here from 9.1 to 9.15. So if you look back in 2015, you were about the same here at this time of year, so that's a good thing. You were talking about kind of the issues with feeling like you should be doing better, but in a lot of sense, the older we get, even as if we can hold on to sort of what we have, we're doing good. And I'll talk to you for a minute too about looking at this training, this weight program that Russ is doing, and I think you may be interested in that too. I think that's going to really help. I am going to start on it myself too, so I'm excited about that. So let's go back to Mark's week here, and you can see your average power. Everything looks good. Here are your big week rides for the week. So the 12th, the 15th, and then the TT there on the 18th. And then from there I'll kind of go to to this chart here, and I can see for the week, I can see what your training stress balance has been for each day, and you can see here you did that sub LT midweek, and then your recovery kind of came up, and for the race, and so your acute training load, which is how much you're putting in per day, it's gone up, and you've held pretty steady. So this time of year, really, 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 we do want this to come down. We can't keep you up there so high, and I think part of your problem. Your problem was, I think, even for the whole year, is that you peaked too early. I mean, you were putting in almost 400, 365 watt 5-minute FTPs back in December of last year. And that was just too early, and your body probably peaked. And my mistake, I should have forced you harder to keep that down. In that sense, it's not a lot of times you just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. And I think that was what was messing you up. And you were excited about getting faster and all that. We all learn. That's always been one of my mistakes too. So if we go back here to weekly cycling report and we look at the last 30 days, your last week here, your training stress was 288 for the week, so very good, right in where we want. You climbed 1,500 feet during that, and your 20-minute peak was 276 watts. So all of this is looking very good. You can see here that our acute training load has been going down, and our chronic training load, which means the end of the year is coming, and I expect this to go down even more before we lead out into your time completely off the bike. And so we'll discuss whether that's going to be a week or 2 weeks or something like that. But and then you can see here, if I look at the last 90 days or even year to date, you can see kind of what's happened, just sort of as a story of your year. Back in January, you're tooling along really good. This is where you hurt your knee here, and you came back pretty quick, and had a few more issues here, and then slowly kind of came back up. But I mean, it's been a very good year. It's been a year of a lot of learning a lot of lessons and learning things that is only going to make you stronger for next year. And I'm 100% convinced. I mean, honestly, dude, you are the strongest guy I coach by a long shot. And we're learning. You're learning how to race. You're learning how to taper. You're learning how to not get yourself too nervous for these things. All of this stuff is important, and we're just going to see things getting better, especially once we get that knee of yours feeling good and strong. And I think the weights are going to help. Okay, so once we get to past that, I can see time and zones actually for your week here. So you can see your anaerobic. You've actually got more than most of my coach riders do, these high end. Most everybody is kind of moving back towards this endurance and tempo stuff, and I think you will be very much the same as you kind of begin your real taper after this week. And so you're not going to be doing any, I'm not going to have you even doing any sub-LT workouts for a while. I'm just going to have you out there having fun and kind of just getting out and getting your heart pumping, and that's about the extent of it. A lot of free choice. If you feel like going fast, good, but if you don't, no big deal. And then if we look here at your training stress and intensity factors, you can see this stuff kind of working its way down too. So again, all good stuff, man. So let's get into your specific ride. So let's go like this. Let's start here on Monday. You can see Monday, everything's good. If I look at the map, you're riding outside. Yes, I know. But very good. This is a good, I can see, a peak of about 150 heart rate. So, just a good, some good tempo over here, and some good level 2, zone 2 endurance stuff here. Wednesday, this should be your sub-LT. And you can see here, there you go, there are your hot zones there. Those things can kind of jump out at you. The hot zones look really good. You're getting, another thing I do is I check to see how quickly you're recovering between the top and the end. So at 39:50 you were recovered, and 37:23 you were at the end. So less than a minute, your heart rate's dropping darn near 100 beats per minute. So excellent recovery. Looks like you stopped your timer there, so it's a little hard to tell on that one. But good power, nice high cadence up through these areas up here. Very, very good. And I'm not, like, for example, on this, see if I can find a good lap. I might have to do something like this. Just create my own selection there. And I can see that, you're holding, that doesn't seem right, 199 watts. Let's get over here. Let's get to this zone here. See if I can do it. Okay, for that selection, you are holding, where'd you go, watts? 242 normalized power. So yeah, good tempo, everything's good. That looks good. Your heart rate's coming down. You appear to be holding your efficiency factor here. Oop, my wife's calling. Hold on a second. I'll pause this. So everything's looking good. Let's see. Let's take a look here. And this whole workout, all told, I think, what was it? It was 63 training stress points and an hour long. So, you know, 1 training stress point per minute, man. That's good. Really good. Thursday, I think this is when we start kind of moving down a little bit. So here's your heart rate sort of isolated. You can see you're getting in these good sets here. And that's going to be about 150 peak, perfect as you taper. Friday a little bit more, not quite so high, 130 probably the peak. Again, it's got you about a 90 minutes, but we can chop off that, so probably an hour and 10, hour and 15 worth of riding, and all that's looking good. Sunday, there's your, this looks like to be the warm-up, 120 here for your heart rate, everything here. Let's get into your, this might be the second warm-up. Let's see. Nope, that's your TT, and that's your cool down. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty easy to see your TT. Now you can see here, I've already gone in and I've broken it down into 4 quarters, quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, just to get an idea what's happening with your power as the race progresses. So start off with, let's see here, if we just isolate your heart rate, you're about 130 at the start. If I stretch that out a little bit, we might be able to be able to tell a little bit easier. Oh, actually 120, even better. So not as nervous as you've been getting at the start, which is cool, love it. Look at here, your power started out nice and smooth, no big spike here, dude, that's awesome. And then, you know, you were up there for a second, but then everything sort of smoothed out. This looks all great. Let's take a look at the, you know, your heart rate. Man, just solid all the way. Your efficiency factor, 1.8 at the start, and 1.6 you settled in, and you held 1.53 and 1.53. This is great. Your average power, 250, 253 here. This zone, quarter 3 is always the one I worry about the most. If we were to see that come down to like 225, we'd know you might be having some problems. A lot of times that happens because that quarter 3 is sort of no man's land. It's far enough away from the start to be a long time away from the start, but yet far away enough from the finish to feel like the finish is never going to come. And this is where you were talking about that wind too, just really eating at you. And you can see, I can see your speed here. That's the blue. Your speed is dropping as you're driving into that wind, but you're holding, and so that's really good. In your heart rate, you're not panicking, you're not spiking, you're not fighting it, you're not beating the waves, so to speak, with that kind of stuff. Very important. And you kept your cadence high over the last 2. Of course, your variability index perfect. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all of it. You just hardly ever see that in a TT. You just don't see it. So looking really good. 253, 250, 271, 291. Excellent. And next year, probably our goal is going to be to get you near like 300 there, 290, 285, 285 kind of thing, something like that. And way doable for you. So then there's your cool down and all of that. So here, let me just show you your schedule for the week. And what I'm thinking of is we talked about, you were talking about, you know, kind of wanting to improve and everything else for next year. And do not be disappointed in your year. You had a great year. You came home with some serious hardware, and it's only going to get better. I promise you that it's only going to get better. It's kind of like we've got this Ferrari. We just got to keep tuning the motor up until it's ready to go. So, dude, you got this thing. So look at this. Wednesday, 60-minute tempo ride, easy. Nothing, max 135, 140. Same thing there. And then light spin, 1 to 2 hour free choice. I thought it might be fun in the fall. just to go up and do some climbing, if you can, a 1 or 2 hour, just go up and climb and enjoy yourself. Don't even look at your power meter. Don't look at your heart rate. Just enjoy yourself. Pretend like almost like when we were kids and we just go out on our bikes. Same deal here. Nothing higher than 150, and then a 60-minute sprint. So really, we're going to get about 250 training stress points for the week out of basically just endurance and tempo, and that's going to help your knee come back. It's going to help you build base. It's going to keep you stronger, and it's going to keep you fit, and should work out pretty good. And talking about this weight thing, the stuff that Russ has got going is pretty cool, and I'd like to see about getting you on it too. It's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have the weights maybe 3 times a week, and then we're going to maybe for 6 to 8 weeks basically just use cycling as a way to backfill. So you're going to just be dropping in like 60 minutes on the days of or the day off of weights and doing just spinning, those kind of things. If I can take you over here and show you what some of it looks like. So if I go to like this week 1 here, Monday, let's just open that up here real quick. Where did you go? Let's see, here it comes. Okay, so I know it's a little bit hard to see. Let me see if I can get it. So you're going to start here. This is going to be the adaptive phase, and it's going to give you these exercises: hip extension, seated row, step-ups, push-ups, leg press, seated lat pull, crunches, all of that stuff. And then what we'll do is we'll assign the actual workout here. So there's your squat. You can see right there. And that Fast After 50 book, they spent a lot of time documenting a lot of athletes that over 50 years old, like, who's that dude? Ned Overland, the dude who lives out in Durango here in Colorado, who's like 60-something years old, 65, and just destroys the senior men pro 1-2, and he does a lot of this kind of stuff. And so these exercises here, these would be basically what you would do for the day if you feel like doing maybe a half-hour spin in the evening or in the morning just to backfill. That would be cool. But it would be like 3 times a week kind of thing that you would do similar exercises to this. And I thought we could start this maybe after you get done with your break to give your knee a rest. And, just have you out walking or whatever, and then we could start you by, I don't know, early November or so, get you going on your training, and kind of be ready to start FTPs by maybe January, mid-January, something like that. I think we could spend 6 to 8 weeks building base, and then building a sub base, which would be like getting, by sub base I mean like sub FTPs, and then drive you back into FTPs. So overall, dude, I think really, really happy. I'm very pleased with your season. You've come a long way, and you're really holding a lot of good fitness, and you're only going to get better. You've got a faster bike now too, and all of this stuff really, really makes a difference. So I'm going to email you this over, and hopefully you get this thing, and we will be talking to you later. But love you, buddy. I'm very proud of you. I'm totally pumped with what you're doing, and have no fear. It's going to even be better. But you gotta let yourself rest now, and just enjoy the cycling for what it is, and kind of in some ways step away a little bit, knowing that it'll be ready for you when you come back to it. Okay, man. I will talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.